me of a time it reminds me of a time in my life where it was a moment where I had been sick, down and out, and dealing with COVID and the residuals from that. And I was able to get on the stage with my mentor, Dr. Cheryl Wood in the States, as well as Mr. Les Brown, also in the States. This gentleman has a huge, long history as a professional speaker. He sets the bar high for those of us who are in this space. And so this moment I'm going to share really quickly is the first time I stepped on the stage after I had developed COVID. And so I was super excited. So watch this. I'm no longer running. Running from poverty, right? Running from not going back to lack. Running from the life I do not want. But now I'm driven. Somebody say driven. Driven. I'm driven by the life that I do want. That's what gets me up every day and pushes me and makes me move forward, makes me get up for my grandkids. I'm driven instead of running from fear. Right? Because fear can cripple you and you end up stuck and not doing anything. Right? So when I was in that bed, I couldn't conceive of anything like this. Anything like this. It was that moment in time. It is today. It is getting to be in front of you all, getting to share a unique message about how can we create legacy in our business. And how many know that money isn't everything, but it is definitely a resource that we need to be able to move forward in this world. If anybody got any great tips and strategies from our previous instructors, please put a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you're here and you got some good nuggets from those presenters and you're super excited about what you're going to learn today. I want to see some 1s in the chat box. If you could just indulge me with that there. I don't see no 1s, Otis. So I want to just be excited throughout the rest of the presentation. I see your 1, Otis. Way to go. Like he said, I have a history in the financial services industry, also as an entrepreneur since I was the age of 30. I'm 43 now. And I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore, which is in the States, in Maryland. It can be viewed as an impoverished area. I grew up to a young single mom. I see you, Victor. Thank you so much for your 1 in the chat. I grew up to a struggling single mom in the inner city of Baltimore, Maryland. And even though we may say, I don't want to repeat cycles, especially family dynamics that may not be as positive, you know, I always looked at my mom as an inspiration because I saw her be a young mom struggling and wanting more for her life. Now, if there's anybody here, again, in the chat, I want you to type in more. If you are someone who is here, whether you're young, whether you already have a business, whether you've worked in for someone else before, I want you to put more in the chat. If you think you want to have more experiences, more opportunities, more resources, more great relationships, you know, more exposure to what is out there for you. I see the mores. Thank you, Samuel. So you are just like me and just like my mom. You know, we wanted more for our lives. We didn't know how we were going to arrive there. We didn't know what it was going to take. We had no money to our name, but we knew that God had put something special on the inside of us, and we just had to nurture that. And so we're here to nurture you, myself and the other previous presenters, as well as Otis. We're here to nurture what you have on the inside of you. I see you, Ishmael. I see you, Muhammad Moore. Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I want to impress upon you that you can use your talent, you can use your business, your passions to create freedom in your life. This slide here says that financial freedom is a mindset. I know that oftentimes when maybe you're discussing your goals with your dreams with someone that you care about, you know, you don't always hear them talking about mindset. as the way to get there. We might talk about resources and funding and, marketing even, but I impress upon you, the first thing that I had to change if I wanted more out of my life was my mindset. I had an impoverished mindset because that's the way I grew up. We didn't have much money, and my mom didn't graduate beyond high school, and neither did I. I ended up getting licenses and certifications in my field, but I did not have an academic degree. And so how many know that you can self-sabotage yourself if you have an impoverished mindset, if you have a stuck mindset where you're just thinking about the negative? But I impress upon you that we're not going to be negative tonight. We're going to have a mindset of freedom. We're going to have a mindset that we deserve more. We're going to have the mindset that God has already aligned the relationships, the resources, the people, the clients, the customers that you need before you even launch. He's already destined you for that. So I want to keep in mind that financial freedom is definitely a mindset. You can't put the cart before the horse, as they often say. Sometimes we just want to get more clients or get more opportunities, but oftentimes we have to have the mindset before anyone shows up to help us. So financial freedom is a mindset. Growth is a mindset, right? So if you've ever experienced any kind of setbacks in your life thus far, whether it was at school or at work or even in your family, sometimes you can feel stuck and like no one sees you or that they don't hear you. But I impress upon you now is to take just a second and think about your life in a way where it represents growth, where it represents more. Somebody put growth in the chat for me. Growth in the chat. If you are not someone who on this day is in a stuck mindset, if you have a growth mindset, meaning that you know that you might not be where you will ultimately be in your 30s, 40s, 50s, but you have the desire, you have the goal that you want to be more than you are today. If you put growth in the chat, I will shout you out. I see you, Fester, that you believe that you have a growth mindset, one that is not stuck on the past, one that is not stuck on what you don't have, one that is not stuck on what the government is or is not doing on your behalf, but you have determined that you're going to do what's in your power to grow. I see you, Godson. I see you, Muhammad. I'm glad you're here. So growth mindset and an empowered mindset. Listen, what does an empowered mindset mean? It means that you already have on the inside of you what power and ability that you need to go out and create impact. So when you think about that talent that you have that you thought was just a hobby, that thing could be the thing that sets you apart in this world, that gives you legacy right now. How many think about legacy and they think about when they have passed on? But I'm here to share that your legacy is today. It is every call you make to further your growth. It is every person you meet that you have shared your gifts with. It is right now. So I want you to think empowered right now. Even if you don't have every single tool that you need just yet, I want you to be empowered from the inside out, that you have what it takes. This world is waiting on you. We talk about legacy. It's today. It's not when you're 90 years old and you have done all that you can. It is today. It's the decisions that you make. It's the relationships that you build. I know that Otis is someone that loves to build relationships, loves to communicate what he knows so that other people can grow. And I know that Otis is young. So think about it this way. If he has that kind of fire in his belly right now, that kind of empathy for those young people who want more, who want to grow, who want to succeed, what could he be at 32, at 52, right? What could you be when you've decided that you're going to have this freedom of mindset, this freedom of resources and legacy now? So I want to impress upon you, when we talk about our finances, whether personal or business, we have to be good stewards. Somebody put steward in the chat. You have to be a good steward over what you have, whether you're still working a job and you have a hobby turned business, You have to be a good steward over what resources, what savings, what relationships. Nurture your relationships. People don't think about relationships as currency, but I'm here to share with you that good, positive relationships, unselfish relationships should be nurtured, and it is currency. I see you. I see you, Jefferson. Being a good steward over what God has already given you, the talents he's already given you, the relationships that he's already given you, we need to be able to manage. So when we think about our actual money, personal and in business, I'm a firm believer that you have to build what they call a financial dream team. Now, I told you guys I grew up in poverty, so I didn't know a lot about money at all. But what I did learn early on is you can't do everything by yourself. A firm believer in community and collaboration. And with that said, you can get a lot more accomplished when you're not by yourself. So think about what a financial dream team is. It is a group of people who you have called to you that heard your vision, heard your mission, and they want to be a part of it. I am one of the members of a financial dream team as a financial advisor, but there are other professionals that you can come across that will add to your journey, that will help protect what it is that you have built. And so when we think about who some of those people are, one could be a business attorney. Now, oftentimes when we hear the word attorney, we think, oh my goodness, they cost a lot of money. They have retainer fees, they have success. So they value their knowledge and we have to pay for that. Well, true that they don't always have to be so expensive. It just depends on what you need and when you need it. So think about a business attorney from the aspect that whether you try to go it alone, DIY, and start your business, register the paperwork with your local authorities, or you can consider consulting with a business attorney, because this is probably one of the biggest decisions when you're thinking about starting the business, because you've got to decide what entity to start. Now, generally, we're all solopreneurs or solopreneurs, sole proprietors, all this because we have whatever gifts and talents. We are the business. I am the business, right? Before I ever have a product, service, or anything to launch, I'm the business. And so if you're going to launch your business as a solo practitioner or sole proprietor, oftentimes you're taking on a great bit of liability. So there are other entity types that you could select with the help of a business attorney, that would protect your personal assets from being leveraged if, God forbid, the business failed or some creditor came against you. Talking to a business attorney, they can help you figure out what structure is going to be the best for you. And at the same time, they can talk to you about contracts, right? They can talk to you about equity. So if you decide, one day I want to become a publicly traded company on the stock exchange, or I want to leverage what my business is for other people to invest in, I would need to be public, or there are some private businesses that can do that. But if you're not sure of which entity makes sense for you, a business attorney would be a good place to start. Now, they probably have consulting fees, which, okay, cool. We want to pay people for their advice. But I would impress upon you, if you haven't started already, to consider talking to a business attorney about how to structure your business, about what kind of contracts and agreements should you have for your customers or clients, and just make sure that it's rock solid, right? They can also help you with business plans, things of that nature. So this is an ally on your financial dream team that you should start building a relationship with quite early in your business development. Now, let's say you were that sole practitioner, solo provider, and you decided, I want to scale, right? I want to bring in a business partner, because we talked about community and collaboration. I want to bring someone in that with us together, our synergies are going to really, really create impact. So they can help you to create buy-sell agreements, all kinds of documents that can help you to figure out how to protect and build a business from the ground up the right way. The next one I would say on your dream team should be a banker. right? So when we think about our bank, we often will think about our checking, our savings account. Personally, we'll think, hey, I have a bank account, I pay my bills through that. That's pretty much the gist of what we think banking is, but it goes a lot beyond that, especially when you're dealing with a small business. So think about it this way. You establish your business entity with that attorney. He helps you to figure out, maybe you want to be an LLC, or you want to start a corporation or something. Okay, great. You have that. It's already done. Now you got to start figuring out, how can I receive funds if somebody wants to help me? If a client wants to pay me, how do they do that, right? I have to have a business checking account. And now you have the paperwork to go to the bank and take that LLC paperwork or whatever entity you formed, take that to the bank, and they can help you get a business checking account. Now, I know we live in the days of PayPal, Square, Zelle, and all the other payment apps. But I will tell you that even if you set up, and I do encourage you to do that, when you set up those payment apps, you want them to dump or funnel those monies into your business bank account. And I'll talk with you a little bit about why that's important too, because oftentimes these payment apps will give their own debit card, right? So if you have a Cash App or a Square account or a PayPal account, they'll give you a debit card in which you can use to make purchases and, run expenses for your business. But if you funnel it to your bank account first, then you can show how much revenue collectively has been coming into your business in one place. And that helps you with access to capital later on. So think about your banker as your first stop to building good financial habits, to finding out what resources they have in your local community, because the bankers often know that. Even when there are access to capital opportunities, the banks either create those opportunities or they network with other institutions, such as the SBA, right? The Small Business Association. So your banker is one of your great resources to start your business and to grow the business. So make sure that you're not just opening an account online, but that you're actually going into your branch and sitting down with a banker, because now you can share with them your vision, your passion, your niche market, where you see yourself, and start building relationships. So definitely, thank you, Esau. Definitely make sure that your banker is part of your financial dream team. Next up, we've got the accountant, or the certified public accountant, the CPA. Now, the CPA is like the epitome of the tax professionals, but I will also share that accountants have well-versed knowledge in the aspect of making sure that you are able to take these bank statements that you have, right? Now, you already have your bank account. Take these bank statements and show them, or give your CPA or accountant access to it, because then they will begin to categorize your expenses. They will begin to let you know on a monthly basis what your cash flow is looking like in the business. Why is that important? Because if you want to get access to more capital from banks, from venture capitalists, they're going to want to see, on an average, how much do you bring in revenue-wise from your business? How much do you spend on operations? Do you pay any staff? Can you afford to hire staff? Your accountant or your CPA is going to be that person that kind of is showing you your business in the numbers. They're going to be able to let you know if you can bring in that partner, right? If you can hire the administrative staff that you need, if you can hire that warehouse, right? Because you have products and services going out the door and it's too much for you, right? But you will be able to build a relationship with an accountant who can take that off your plate, right? You're the visionary of the business. You don't have to work inside the business, but someone who's working on the finances for you and with you. This team is what you have that's going to help you to do that. So when you think about, you've built the business, you've got your bank account, you've been selling some products and or services, and you have your accountant that's watching over, making sure that everything is categorized. Because again, when you want access to capital, the first thing they want to see are bank statements, and they also want a profit and loss statement. So your accountant or your CPA will easily be able to get you that profit and loss or P&L statement, because they've been working on the bank account for some months or some years. They can just click a button and have that statement readily available for you. So one of your financial dream team members should be an accountant and or CPA. Is that good? Somebody put good in the chat if this is good information thus far. We're talking about how you can manage your business finances. We talked about the professionals that you want to have, the business attorney, right? You want to have your CPA, you want to have your banker, of course, right? So I see you, Aaron, good information. Okay, I appreciate that. The next one is your insurance broker. And the reason why I say broker, because an insurance broker has access to various different insurance carriers. Now, an insurance agent is usually what they call captive, meaning they can only represent one insurance company. But when you're thinking about a broker, they might have access to various insurance companies, as well as have multiple types of insurance licenses, meaning they might be licensed in life insurance, they might be licensed in health insurance, they might be licensed in auto, home, renters, business insurance. Why is an insurance agent important? Because they manage risk. Somebody put risk in the chat. They manage risk, the what ifs that happen in life. And I will share with you, even if you build the best business you could possibly build, something will happen. That's just life. It's called the what ifs for that reason. You're going on about your business, and here comes some disgruntled client who wants to sue you for some reason. Or here comes, someone who has slip and fall in your store, right? You want to make sure that even if that happens, that you can make sure that you pass that liability onto a larger company. And that larger company is the insurance carrier. And so it is a partnership. In exchange for a monthly premium that you pay, maybe for your business insurance, in exchange for that, they're going to take on the major liabilities. If, God forbid, some catastrophe happens, like what we just saw in the States, in Florida, in the tropics, if your business got ruined because there was a flood, now the insurance company can pay you for the damage to your building. They can pay you for the loss of materials. They can pay you for the loss of business while your brick and mortar was being rebuilt. They relocated you to another place. Listen, insurance carriers are our friend because they cut a check when life happens. Somebody put check in the chat. The insurance carriers are here to manage risk, and they cut a check when life happens. So we want to make sure that they are on our team, even in the personal aspect, because if you are a solopreneur, you are the business, and God forbid you get sick. We know that COVID ran across this world and knocked the wind out of all of us, right? We didn't know what that thing was. All we knew was we were on lockdown, especially in the States, and we couldn't run our businesses, and we couldn't go to work, and we couldn't visit our family, and we couldn't go share time with our colleagues. We were dealing with an illness that we didn't think it was going to be fatal, but it was in a lot of cases. And so I share to you that even if you have to get health insurance as an entrepreneur because you're not working a 9-to-5 anymore, your insurance broker could be that person to help you get that insurance. They also can help you to establish benefits for your business. So your insurance broker, again, is somebody amazing to have on the team because they will manage the risk for you. I see you, Victor. Insurance broker give good advice. Absolutely, they do. And they have resources and connections with a lot of these financial dream members. Financial advisor. So a financial advisor is someone who does exactly that. They can help you to figure out moves that you need to make with your money. So if you're someone who is in business already, when you talk to a financial advisor, they not only want to know what you're doing now with your money, they want to know about your goals and dreams. They want to know what is the time frame that you want to accomplish this in. Do you have any resources? Do you need access to capital? Are you investing? They look at your finances from a holistic perspective, both personally and in business. Why? Because oftentimes if we're not ready for capital, meaning getting third-party funding, we have to fund our own businesses, right? We have to take from our personal resources to fund our business endeavors. And that means that your finances have to be in order. You have to have some cash flow coming in or extra money left over at the end of the month if you're going to begin to self-fund your business. And so your financial advisor is that go-to person that before you jump and start doing things, that you've had a conversation with them and they can either assure you that you have what you need to get started, or that you need to put it off, or that you need access to capital, right? And so your financial advisor is going to be that person that can help you figure things out in the now, but also for the future. I hope that makes sense for you. And then my next one would be the investment advisor. Now, when you think about investments, a lot of people feel comfortable doing it themselves. You know, they have these online brokerage accounts that they can set up. And, you know, they open these accounts and they just start trading money and they start investing in things. And that's cool. But when you think about the growth of your portfolio, you will want to have someone in your corner that knows what they're doing in the market, right? And so the market can be a scary place, but it can also be a welcoming place of opportunities. And we think about giving the money that we have a job, or giving the money we have a purpose. Listen, it's not just about you showing up somewhere, trading dollars for hours, or showing up somewhere as the solo practitioner in your business, and the only money you have is determined by you showing up somewhere. We want to have money coming in. We want to have leverage that isn't based on our personal ability to stand up and show up and do something. And so when we think about investments, you know, you're putting money in a particular company or an entity that you have basically given them your money, and depending on how they operate with that money, they can help it to grow. And so when you think about investing, investing can be in various forms. You know, you can get interest income from investing. You can get dividend income from investing. You know, you can get into real estate. You can gain capital gains. Like, there's so many different things that you can do with your money if you have an investment advisor who, like a financial advisor, can solely look at the money that you can put in and how long you want it invested, and what is the time frame that you need to pull that money back to yourself. So it's not just thinking about retirement, it's thinking about the money that I put in, I want it to grow, because then once it can grow, I can take some of that and invest back in my business. Does that make sense? So we want to think about the 5 people or 6 people that can help us along the journey. Who can put in the chat one of the Financial Dream Team members who can help you along the way? I want to see if you guys have been paying attention. How many of these financial people can you name? I'll give you one, a banker. Who else can help you along in this journey of your business, managing your money for your business? Let's see. I'm going to put banker in the chat. Who else has one? Advisor, accountant. Yes, yes. Did anybody say attorney? Yep, so we have attorney. Got it. Good, good, good. So you guys are paying attention. And again, you don't need to have all of these people at one time, because again, this is a journey. Just like your personal life is a journey, developing your business is also a journey. I heard Otis say on a live that you have to commit to the process of growth. You have to commit to, hey, I don't know everything, and I probably shouldn't know everything, because you want to be a specialist at something. So whatever you're a specialist at, definitely do that, but get yourself a good team of people who can be a specialist at what they do and help you along the way. Okay, so that's my 6 people for your financial dream team. PT Barnum said, money is a terrible master, but is an excellent servant. Think about that. Money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. So I just said moments ago that if you give your money a job, or you give it a purpose, now it's about more than just a rate of return. It's about the values that you have. So if you say, I want my money to represent me in the now as living legacy, I believe in human capital development. I believe that I and other employers or business owners should see the value in their staff or their team. And I want to invest my money into companies that believe in human capital development. That represents your values. And so you've given your money a purpose and you've said, hey, investment advisor, what companies out there represent human capital development? Because I want to put my money into that, right? So when we think about giving our money a job or a purpose and not letting money run you, okay, then you can say that you're living legacy now because your money actually reflects who you are as a person. So somebody put legacy now in the chat if you can. Legacy now. It is who you are today, what your money represents, what impact you intend to create with it, and you can do that today with what money you do already have. I see the legacy now, Solomon Fester. Thank you so much for participating. How do you get access to capital? I touched on it a little bit earlier that there are steps along the way. There are people along the way. There are financial experts that you want to build good relationships with. I see you, Isa. So how do you get access to capital? That is a third party company or business or people who believe in your business and your passions, and they want to help you financially. So how do you get access to that? You prepare, you plan, you assess. Prepare, plan, and assess. We talked about having an attorney as one of our team members. They can help you prepare and plan, right, with paperwork. Your financial advisor can help you prepare and plan and help you to assess your cash flow and your numbers. You know, your investment advisors can do the same. They can help you to assess what you have to put into investments that are going to bring you more revenue. So when we think about how do we get access, or who can help us with more money to grow, start or grow the business? One of those funding sources could be debt funding, or AKA loans. So if you've ever had a loan before for anything, you know, think about, was it difficult for you to get that loan approval, or was it easy? I will tell you that if you're a startup business, some of the paperwork that these traditional banks or institutions may require can take a lot longer than we expect. We might not have all of our paperwork or all of our ducks in order, as they say. And so access to capital through lending opportunities may or may not be available to you if you're just starting out. But don't dismay, because there are other ways that you can get access to capital that may or may not be a loan out the beginning. But that's why I said it's a good opportunity for you to build relationship with a banker, because they are the ones that are looking at your accounts every day. They can see on average how much you have coming in and going out and what cash flow is there. And if they have a program within the bank that can help you to grow, even if it's a small loan, maybe you use that loan to get better equipment, or you use that loan for marketing, or you use that loan to hire part-time staff that can help you do things that you don't want to be involved with on a daily basis. But lending means that you have to go to a bank and present them with documents that help show stability and revenue in the business. And in turn for that, they go ahead and give you their money in exchange for an interest rate that you pay back to them over time. So one funding source could be your loans or banks. The other could be venture capital. So venture capital, a lot of you guys might be familiar with Shark Tank. So Shark Tank are these successful entrepreneurs who have come to that particular platform, and they allow small business owners to come in and present or pitch their business to these venture capitalists because they believe in the growth or the potential of these businesses. If they've done a certain amount already, and then you come to them and ask for money, of course, they want to look at the numbers too, but the current numbers aren't the most important. The most important is the potential for that business to grow. And so if you're able to get a venture capital opportunity where you're pitching your business to these successful investors, they may, in exchange for a percentage of ownership. So with the banks, they don't get ownership of your business. They just give you money and then you pay them back over time, but you keep 100% ownership of your business. With venture capital, in exchange for funding that they may give you, you may have to give up a certain percentage of your ownership of the business. And that is why having an attorney on your team is helpful, because remember in the beginning, if you think that you might want venture capital later on, he can help you to structure the business from the beginning in a way where you could get that access to capital, if that makes sense. So there's certain business structures that set you up to be able to give percentage ownership away. So I hope that makes sense. But venture capital is where investors or even some banks will be able to invest in your business, give you funding in exchange for a percentage of ownership. And then we can get grants. So grants, you don't have to give up ownership in your business. You don't have to pay it back. This is the epitome of free money. Somebody put free money in the chat. So when you think about grants, yes, you still should have a good track record of your documentation, such as your business plan, your bank statements, things of that nature. However, with grants, they are literally giving you money to invest in your business, usually based on the purpose or the mission behind it, but they will give you money and you do not have to pay it back. I love grants. Oftentimes you can seek out grant writers because these grant writers know how to structure the language in your grant application and in any narrative that you attach to it that can help them see the mission and vision that you have, what you've already done thus far. And then these organizations or these entities can give you money that you do not have to pay back. See, I love grants. Somebody put free money in the chat. I see you, Richardson. Thank you for putting that in the chat. So we talked about loans. We talked about venture capital. We are talking about grants, which is that free money that we want to be able to get access to. And then lastly is crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is where you have supporters that are coming in, and it's a large group of people. Usually you can, put something online, such as like a GoFundMe account or a Kickstarter, something like that, where your peers or strangers even could invest in helping you to be able to grow the business, start the business. Usually you have to be very detailed and creative about your story. And that is why I talked about in the beginning that you're unique and you have gifts and talents that this world has yet to even learn about. But crowdfunding is a way for you to share your story, who you want to serve, how you want to serve them, and get people showing up and just throwing money into the account for you. Crowdfunding is usually through, a large number of people. They could be friends, family, they could be complete strangers, but crowdfunding is a way for peers and supporters to help you to start or grow your business. We talked about financial freedom being a mindset. Financial freedom is also built. So as you saw, there were people that we needed to include or bring into our lives. There are processes and paperwork that we need to bring into our lives to grow the business. It is not an overnight thing. I would not kid you to make you think that you could get rich quick. If you build it the right way, you're going to have to go on this journey and commit, as Otis said, commit to the process, the mental process, the paperwork process, the relationship building process, and being consistent. I will share with you that, you might be all amped up and excited about the potential for the money, the impact, the legacy. And then life may hit you and you get a little discouraged and you get a little down, or you feel stuck at certain parts of the journey. But understand that you're not alone. There are plenty of people in business who have gone through that, and you have to make a decision to be persistent. You have to make a decision to be resilient, which means when you get hit, you get back up. I want you to be empowered to not just live the life you want without worrying about money, but think about the generations to come. Think about the generations before you. Have your parents or grandparents, have any of them been entrepreneurs? How did they create legacy? How did they share their traditions with you about who they are and what's important to them? But you get to do the same thing. You get to have your values. You get to have your goals and dreams be exhibited before not just this continent, but the whole world. The people are waiting for you to stand up. I want to share with you guys that I do have a book that I co-wrote with a lot of people about 2 years ago, and it's called Courageous Enough to Launch Courageous Enough to Launch, where a bunch of entrepreneurs gave their insights about their own entrepreneurship journeys and the challenges that came up and what it took for them to be resilient, what it took for them to stand up and say, okay, let me take a breath. Okay, let me get back up because I'm still on this mission of impact and I have to continue to do so. So you have to bring, your courageousness to the table. And it's not to say that fear won't show up, because fear shows up when we don't know something or when we're uncomfortable about something. So I do have one copy of my Courageous Enough to Launch book. If someone shoots me an email at constance@conciergefg.com, I will get that book out to you. Courageous Enough to Launch, Constance@conciergefg.com. If you miss it, I'm sure Otis can get that information to you guys. But I want to be able to give you one person that book. I have one on hand. The others are online on Amazon, Courageous Enough to Launch. So as I started out saying, you are unique. You are destined for greatness and success. And if you can do something for me, put your finger up, even if you don't want to show it. Put your finger up, and I want you to do this motion of left to right, left to right. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing you my fingerprint, right? Each and every one of us have our own unique fingerprint. And so what I want you to do is put your fingerprint to the camera. And what that means is we need you. I don't care if someone else has a consulting business, if someone else has a skincare line, if someone else has a financial business, they do not have this. They don't have your fingerprint, right? And we need you to show up and be as uniquely you as you can possibly be, because there's only one God created for this experience. And I am glad to have been here with you all for this time. I challenge you to start living your legacy now and dominate this world. I'm super proud of each and every one of you. I am Dr. Constance Craig Mason, a financial consultant here. And if you have any questions about anything, I can put my email here in the chat so that you can reach out if you need resources or need connections, and I can be of service. I definitely will do that. And if you want to follow me on social media, I am C. Craig Mason, @C. Craig Mason. I will stop sharing now, Otis, so you can go ahead and come back on. And if there's any questions you guys can ask, feel free to do that while I'm here. And I thank you for the time.